Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Of course, we've got to talk a little bit about the MCU, which may no longer be the MCU. We've got a lot to get to here. This is a story coming out of Cosmic Book News that I think is going to be surprising, as the MCU and Disney recognize that it's men who actually enjoy the Marvel Cinematic Universe more than the ladies do. And, of course, that's who you should be catering to. And, well, it looks like that's the direction they're going. So, here we go. Now, before we get started, just a quick reminder, I need you to double check you're still subscribed to the channel. You see, YouTube's been doing some really strange things lately, in addition to unsubscribing people, but absolutely destroying the monetization opportunities for channels and the viewership for specific videos. So do me a favor, double check you're still subscribed, and if you are, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button right now. Then, if you can, during the course of the video, make a comment, ask a question, give me something to work with, because that supposedly helps out as well. And finally, share this particular video out there so everybody sees it. Believe it or not, all of these steps will help me and help you find more content from my channel with regularity, because they just recommend the things that you watch already, and hopefully one of those things is me. And whether you watch live or a video like this one, it doesn't seem to matter other than the fact that you encourage participation with it. And with that being said, let's participate with this. You see, from our friends at Cosmic Book News, specifically Matt McGloin, who writes most of the articles, if not nearly all the articles over there, saying the MCU is over, ? Well, it sure seems that way. Avengers Doomsday promo has kickstarted the testosterone, at least according to the headline here. Now, I will not argue with the assessment here because I think it's accurate. I also think it's very possible that Disney figured out that their investors are a little frustrated with their stagnation in cinemas, and perhaps you need to bring the boys back, which is something that they said they were going to do about a decade ago with the idea of acquiring the boys' brands like Marvel and Star Wars. Well, now maybe they've decided to do that very thing. Marvel promoted Avengers Doomsday at an event in Italy recently, and fans immediately zeroed in on the lineup displayed on the screen. Well, it was pretty obvious. The cast board is stacked with familiar names, but what caught everybody's attention was who isn't there, which I think is more than a little bit telling, especially when you see the She-Hulk fans kind of crying in their Cheerios. Now, the image features heavy male presence, of course, raising questions online about whether Marvel is quietly shifting away from the MCU era critics use or accuse the studio of embracing over the last several years. And I would say, yeah, they needed to. And I think this is willful, and I think it's intentional, and I think it's obvious because Feige's a failure with the female frame, and it has been shown in all of the recent underperformance of everything since Endgame. It's the garbage-tasticness of underperformance that I think Disney's trying to run away from, because you can't run a studio like that. Fans point out the lack of female heroes, and they're right. When you looked at that particular image from a moment ago, there weren't any. The promo art actually showed the few that there were, like Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, Florence Pugh, Letitia Wright, and Hannah John-Kamen. But the ratio heavily favors the male characters. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing, something that's been missing for quite some time. That sparked a discussion, of course, across social media, with fans wondering if Marvel is overcorrecting after years of being criticized for pushing female-led projects that didn't land with audiences. Not only didn't they land, they absolutely failed. I can't imagine anybody suggesting that The Marvels was a good idea, especially after how poorly it performed, and the fact that they pushed 3 female characters that nobody showed any interest in outside of Captain Marvel, and that was somehow popularized by where it was wedged in the timeline. Everything else was a launch in TV that I don't think a lot of people enjoyed, and I don't think people are buying the Miss Marvel phenomenon even after the Disney Plus growth that it experienced over time. Now, it doesn't help that rumors have circulated for weeks that several female characters won't appear in the film at all. The scoop circles are claiming you won't see Brie Larson, Tatiana Maslany, and Dominique Thorne. All of them are out. And Maslany, in particular, has been the center of talk after her outspoken criticism of Disney leadership and late-night hosts aligned with the company. I have to tell you, that's not a surprise. I think everybody knew that Tatiana Maslany is likely not to appear so much. She not only threw a lot of hate at fans on purpose and with company approval, she did it outside of that window and those bounds. So maybe she's worn out her welcome with the mouse. And I would suggest that's probably true. The question is it intentional? And I have to say it is. Whether this is a strategic pivot or a coincidence, I would say it was intentional. I think they're doing it on purpose. Marvel hasn't commented, but pairing this cast board with broader Doomsday leaks paints a clear picture. The company seems to be leaning on its most bankable established male stars for what is supposed to be the biggest film since Endgame. If you're surprised by that, you shouldn't be. Disney is probably quite tired of all this underperforming nonsense when it comes to everything from Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania all the way through the female-focused Thunderbolts, which basically was therapy in a can. And I don't think a lot of people signed up for that. Whether intentional or not, the Italy presentation looks like the start of a tonal shift. I don't think it looks like one. I think it is one. And one that fans are already calling the end of the MCU. And if only that is 100% accurate. As a fan of the original Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'll say it's about time. But I will say it's unsurprising because there's only so long you can go without actually making money, and Disney has tested the bounds of that for a very long period of time. If Marvel wanted a reaction, they definitely got one. There's a lot of buzz about this across social media circles. Whether the upcoming trailer changes the narrative is now part of the anticipation. I have a feeling that what we're about to see across the various platforms is a lot of intentionally designed, not just leaks, but elements that will signal an obvious shift in where Disney intends to go. The Avengers Doomsday trailer is said to be attached to the December release of Avatar: Fire and Ash, which just premiered a day or so ago, and is said to be engaging enough to draw an audience, but certainly not something that Cameron's going to rely on to get him a seventh movie. Avatar shade aside, I'll say this much. When Avengers Doomsday gets released in theaters on December 18th of 2026, well over a year from now, a year and 15 days as a matter of fact, the announced and confirmed cast includes a lot of male voices that people enjoy, like Chris Hemsworth, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Paul Rudd, Letitia Wright, Florence Pugh, Simu Liu, who's complete garbage can at this point, Tom Hiddleston, Wyatt Russell, David Harbour, Winston Duke, Danny Ramirez, Hannah John-Kamen, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Ebon Moss-Bachrach, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming, Rebecca Romijn, and James Marsden, Kelsey Grammer, Channing Tatum, Tenoch, Huerta, Mejia, and Louis Pullman with Robert Downey Jr. You see there, mostly male, and mostly people that people would like to see again, maybe absent a couple, including that Pedro Pascal fella. But all actors and actresses that have drawn in the past and are drawing from the past to give you something to enjoy in the future. So that brings us to a question. Is the MCU over? Is this pivot an obvious one? Or is it a head fake towards more miserable failures? I don't know, but I'd like to think that Disney's figured it out, and so has the investors, who kind of also figured out that the climate conversation wasn't working out in their favor either. Regardless, what I think is secondary to what matters. I want to know what you think. So let me know your thoughts about the future of the MCU and this pivot to the actual male-centered Marvel Cinematic Universe, and whether or not you think it's a thing. Let me know those thoughts and many others down in the comments section below. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! Maybe even at Marvel Doomsday.